guys? You're watching Day Prime. I'm here with my first guest, familiar faces to the Day Prime set. Once again, we have the brothers from the Hebrews United with us. Let's welcome Kwame and Ashira. Welcome back to Day Prime.
Pleasure.
Guys,
Shalom.
Ashira, you came the first time we had Hebrews United on, and of course, Kwame lives here now. No, I was told that you all are here to speak about a breakthrough in an archaeological dig going on in Jerusalem. All right, sure. I was not given any more information than that, so I'm going to pass it to you to
no problem.
enlighten us.
Let me just set it up, because really and truly the main focus, thrust of this program is going to be dealt with by my very, very prepared and educated brother in the field, of course, in terms of Brother Ashira. However, my job would be to set a context, set up a framework, as it were. Yes, there's archaeology being done and breakthrough archaeology, and for the most part, I would call it controversial, underground archaeology for the most part, but that's just a part of a much larger construct that I want the audience to understand. The people of the Americas, North America, Central America, and even parts of South America, those that came across the Atlantic slave trade to populate what we call the New World at the time, based on a decision of the then Catholic authorities in Europe and the then Muslim authorities in North, West, and East Africa at the time, as a pact to create, as it were, a labor force for this new world that they are seeking to create, one that was highly skilled, one that understood what was necessary in terms of building a civilization, building an empire. So we're not talking about people who were swinging on trees. We're talking about people who had vast knowledge, people who had the ability, the physical ability as well as the mental faculty to build civilization. They were targeted.
Not something that's very information that's out there, really. It's perceived as, the swinging trees.
No.
Hunting tigers.
It's not people swinging on trees, running around naked, me, Tarzan, Eugene. It's not that at all. That is a Western imperialistic image of who and what we were.
Right.
Truth and in fact is that coming out of 65 AD and then later 70 AD with Vespasian and Titus, sacking Jerusalem and destroying the temple, our people migrated from Jerusalem, at least 1 million, based on many accounts from Babylon to Timbuktu, and a number of other scholastic records have proven that, moved from Jerusalem and Israel into East Africa, well, further East Africa, because truth be told, Israel is East Africa, Northeast Africa to be specific. So they moved from extreme Northeast Africa into North Africa, into West Africa. Places like Ghana, places like Nigeria, etc., Morocco, etc., Senegal, etc., Sudan, etc. Some of them even went further north, like the Limba tribe, which can be proven positive to have genetic ancestry and lineage that goes back to Israel. More than just genetic lineage, but the Limba tribe also has the Kohen gene, which speaks to the priesthood. So these people moved from where they were in Northeast Africa into North Africa, into West Africa, some Central Africa, some into South Africa, the Lemba tribe. By the time you find 1492, 1498, and Christopher Columbus and these persons wanting to create the new world based on Queen Isabel and so many others wanting to set up this new establishment, they decide now the best people group to take to get this thing done, based one on a prophecy out of Deuteronomy chapter 28, two, based on their physical strength and the ability to endure slavery, because other persons were put under bondage and they didn't live for very long. They couldn't handle the bondage very well. And then three, the intellect and the sophistication to be able to do this. The Israelite people who were in the diaspora was chosen. And so we were rounded up and we were sent via slave ships to the various Americas, Trinidad being inclusive. Right. So your parents, my parents, the cameraman's parents, certainly Brother Ashira's parents from North Africa and the US, which is where he comes from, we come from there. Having set that up, insofar as science is proving that, insofar as the historic biblical record is proving that, and insofar as secular history can prove this positive, we have a responsibility as men of Israel to pay or to engage in pilgrimage 3 times a year.
That's right.
Back to Israel, back to Jerusalem in particular. It must be stated before I hand over to the brother who will expound on it, that the current popular Israel and more so Jerusalem site that we know that people go to on pilgrimage, various companies, I won't mention their names, take people by the hundreds and sometimes by the thousands, and they make pilgrimage to Jerusalem. What they don't understand is the modern Jerusalem that is flocked to in great numbers is a tourism site, and there's absolutely no scientific nor historic validation for the scholarly validation for those sites.
Okay.
And as a result of that, persons have been searching, persons have been seeking for the true Jerusalem. One of them is a brother by the name of HWHY, who is actually on the ground and has been on the ground for decades. We're talking about over 4 decades on the ground, and his family before him and his family before him. And so we have a situation where there are true-born black Hebrew Israelites who have been able to discover the true Jerusalem, where it is, have been able to find pottery shards and other archaeological indicators which will show you, based on the position of the wall, based on the position of the hills, based on the position of the valleys, based on the cranial or head skull analysis that has been done, based on the position of the Valley of the Kings, that this is indeed true Jerusalem, the city of David that has been found. And it has been found by a rabbi by the name of HWHY. This goodly brother has been an understudy of that brother. He has documented this entire process. And now he's back in Trinidad, not his first trip certainly, to call out the brothers. He has a shofar in his hand. It's one of the tools that we use. It signals victory, it signals calamity or war or distress, and it certainly is used for worship as well. And so symbolically, the presence of the shofar in his hand on today speaks to the fact that we want to call the brothers back home. Now, in calling the brothers back home so that they can make pilgrimage 3 times a year, which is their religious obligation, is a gargantuan mammoth-sized task. And we know that it will have to take place in small numbers at first, a remnant at first, and of course then branch off to a much larger number. There are persons listening to me right now, you did not know that you belong to Greater Israel. You did not know that you belong to the diaspora. So perhaps you may be interested in this experience and what we are talking about from an intellectual level. We are saying tomorrow at 5 p.m. there's a gathering of the tribes of Israel in Trinidad and Tobago at the corner of 6th Street and 8th Avenue in Barataria. Again, that's 5 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday the 25th. Yes, 5 p.m. again, the address corner of 6th Street and 8th Avenue in Barataria. With respect to the phone number, the number to call, and you can call that number now, would be 710-4934. That number again, 710-4934. Now, there are 3 things that are going to be happening on tomorrow before I hand over the mic quickly to my brother. 1, we want to deal with the history, and we want to prove to you positive. This half-an-hour program is going to fly past fast. We're probably about 10 minutes deep in already as we speak. So this is nothing. We can't even begin to deal with this mammoth issue. But if you come out on tomorrow, if you call this number, certainly you can get more information for those who just want information. For those who don't just want to identify with secular Israel and identify their true birthright and heritage, but you want to engage in the worship experience. You actually want to become a practicing Hebrew. Certainly we'll be showing you and teaching you and guiding you into the steps such that you can become a practicing Hebrew. So 1, there's the guy who simply just wants to identify with his ancestors. He's not interested in the faith. You are still welcome, brother. Your assistance can be of great benefit. to those who are in the faith. So we are all one, and certainly you are invited. Then there's the brother who actually wants to be a part of the faith, but he doesn't know how to. You can also be a part of this experience on tomorrow. And then 3, there are brothers who belong to the faith. You know that you're Hebrew, and you can't wait to hear about the experience of going back to Israel, and more so going back to the true Jerusalem, which is currently being unearthed archaeologically right now. And that is what Brother HWHY is, sorry, Brother Ashira, I'm saying HWHY, is going to deal with.
All right, well, we have to go to a break. So when we come back, we're going to go straight to Brother Ashira, and he's going to tell us more about this discovery that has been made. You're going to want to hear about this. Stay tuned. You're watching Day Prime. Welcome back, guys. You're watching Day Prime. I'm here with some brothers from Hebrews United, Kwame and Ashira, and we're about to get into a discovery that was made recently in Jerusalem. I'm going to pass it over to Ashira to expound on it.
All right, so I'm going to expound on what brother here was talking about. We're calling back the men of Israel. For those who may not know that you're Israelite, you came a long way. Your people are here for a reason. And we're able to teach and show you why you're here. Now, the thing is, everybody can feel it, understand there's something that's happening spiritual. It's so thick in the air, it cuts. Well, the thing is that genetically in our bloodline, there's a presence in our DNA to remember. It seems like slavery just happened to us. Right? Everybody can say that. Everybody in this room feel like slavery just happened to us. And the reason is because you have to remember the covenant. The God of the earth, the God, the creator of the world, put that in us spiritually so we can come back to him and say, remember the sins of your father and remember the sins of what you're doing now. Because he has to establish the covenant in order to save us. So that remnant, a small remnant of our people, will remove the curses from all our people. Now, there's a scripture that we were reading previously in Exodus 34:23, and it says that the men of Israel shall come up to Jerusalem, which is in Tel Arad. We're not talking about modern Jerusalem, but it says to come up 3 times a year, right? 3 times a year. It says by doing this, he will drive those people in our land out. Today, our land is full of people called the Ashkenazi or Jewish people. Ish would mean a suffix, meaning that they're trying to be like the real Jews. Well, the thing is, he said also, if by us coming to that land, he will make sure that they will not desire our land. So what our people in the Caribbean, South America, those who in Europe and Central and America, they don't realize that they are the people of the book. Most churches teach that Israel is gone. They're not. Now, you think about this very carefully. I'll give you an example. In America, our name has changed 5 times. But we have Italians who've been in America for at least the last 100 years. But in America, our name, so-called African Americans, have went from color folks to niggas, excuse my French, let's keep it real, Negroes to Afro-American to African American, less than 100 years. So why is that? One of the reasons is that because they are hiding your or our identity. You know, it makes sense, right? Because if your wife came to you and she's lying to you about something, or she keeps changing something, that means she's hiding. So what is she hiding, right? So what we have to understand that these people are hiding our identity. Why? The question is why they're hiding our identity. Because in the prophecy it says, once we awaken, this kingdom has to come down. It has to be destroyed. In order for Christ to come back, this kingdom here, America government, the UN, Trinidad government, it all has to fall and collapse. It has to be destroyed to establish our kingdom. So this is where we're at. In order for that to happen, we must return. Now, there's archaeological findings. We having all kinds of people come against us because they don't want this to happen. They don't want you to awake. They rather keep you calling yourself a Trinidadian, which is no more than 500 years old. That name. You understand? Who were you? Was the slaves on the American ships or on the ships crossing the Atlantic slave trade? Were they calling themselves Christians? Of course not. What section of the ships were Christians? What section of the ship was Muslims? They took a nation of people. Now, you're going to hear people say that, well, it was Africans who sold Africans. No. Without the proper research, and this is what we're teaching, when Joshua took down the land of Canaan, which was Israel, that's after you cross Jordan, the Canaanites, right? You have the Amorites, you have the Jebusites, you have other Canaanites. But where did they go? Because that wasn't their lot. That wasn't the lot of Ham. That was the lot of Shem. Well, they ran to their lot when he took them down, which was West Coast Africa. So when we were chased, when this gentleman spoke of in 70 AD, when we were killed and chased by the Roman Empire, we ran right into the same people who our forefathers have driven out of our land. They were waiting there for us, and they know that to this day. Through oral tradition, everything has been handed down. So if anybody ever traveled to the East Coast of the world, when I call it the East Coast, meaning the Middle East or East Africa, oral tradition is a big thing there. That's how most people learn. It's handed down, even in Africa. You know what I mean? So because of the books, and they didn't really use those too much, but they used everything through oral tradition. So by them understanding who we were, it was conquistadors and the Arabs. So all you brothers calling yourself Muslims, you're worshiping an Arab God. You're worshiping an Arab God. It's not the God of Israel. It's not the God that your forefathers put you in the condition you in. People ask, well, why is us? Because over here in America, over in Trinidad, we're going through the same thing in those in America. In the Trinidad and America going through the same things that the Negroes in Europe, in Canada going through, and also in South America, and Central America. So why is that? You have, and no disrespect, you have East Indians, can't be a black thing because they just as dark as us, but they're not going through the same thing we're going through. You understand? So this is a spiritual call that we're calling for our people throughout the four corners of the earth. And I hope this is being heard more than just Trinidad. You know what I mean? We need you people to come out so we can give you an understanding of who you are and give you your heritage back. The heritage that the elite of this earth do not want you to have. It's very important that you understand that. We have established the first Pesach in the land of Israel, in the real Jerusalem of the Jebusites in 2,000 years. The law has not been taken away. The Mashiach, who the Gentiles call Christ, he says, I'll come not to destroy the law, right? Or we say the Torah. Not one tittle or not one word should be taken from the law, meaning that the law still stands. And most people, most pastors, they say, oh, the law is done away with, right? So I always tell them this: if the law is done away with, let me have your wife. Oh, wait a minute, hold on, man, that's adultery. Well, of course, because the law still stands. So what it is that what Peter said, be careful of Paul's writings, which is nothing but letters, because you may not understand them. So we're here to establish the foundation of a people that are no longer lost. They're not the lost tribe of Israel. They are the people, they are the children of Israel that are here and has been found.
A mouthful.
Yes.
I would like to, if I can, because here I am, the Hebrew in Trinidad that identifies philosophically and in terms of faith and religiously with what he's saying. I came from a very Christian background, and before that, the Rastafarian background. And so I know what it's like to be an outsider looking in, studying, asking a million questions. I want to touch on an issue that he dealt with before. We are not ISIS, nor will we ever be ISIS.
Right.
The destruction of the civilizations and the empires of which he is speaking, which includes Trinidad and Tobago, is not a flesh and blood war that anyone is going to be waging. That's not the idea. I just really wanted to put that out there, should in case there are persons who would think that we are militants. We are not militants.
Now, let me expound on that. This is a spiritual war. That war is within yourself, okay? And also, that war is at Mount Zion. Now, let me explain something what I mean by that war. The war that is at Mount Zion is still a spiritual war. Satan is sitting in Mount Zion right now, the real Jerusalem. He's sitting there. But it's going to be the prayers of the men of Israel that remove that spirit or that demon from the real Zion. Because the land is, people always say the land is holy. The land is holy. It's not the land that's holy. It's us. It's the people. It's the men. It's the children of Israel. So Jeremiah is seeing that spirit of the Most High leaving Mount Zion. I tell you here on this day as I stand, that this generation will see the spirit of the Mashiach, of the Most High, the God of Israel, return to Mount Zion. That's what's going on, brother. That's real. That's what, and I want to expound on that, bro, because people will take this. They looking at anything to make us into militants, to kill us. They're killing us. They're already killing us. We're killing each other. You understand? All they doing is putting wood into the fire. You know what I mean? No matter what you look like, no matter how much money you got, we are not safe in this road anymore. You understand? It's because there's a call and a green light to kill the so-called Negroes throughout the earth. They know this. And they believe that if you kill these people, see, these people believe if you kill these people, Christ can't come back for the people or for men that are not here. So that's what's happening. And then the next thing, you brothers, you got to stop killing each other. If you kill all the warriors, who's going to protect your mothers, your daughters, your sisters? You're murdering each other. Everybody is not prepared for frontline activity or war. But if you're killing each other, how the Most High is going to use you? You have to stand strong and unite, man. This is a time to unite. The war is not with your brother. The war is with self, spiritual, and the war is with those who are trying to take you down. You know what I mean? And so by you understanding, coming back to your culture, this is how you destroy that spirit, and this is how you destroy their market, everything. As far as from eating pork, man, you stop eating pork, you destroy that market. If you start coming to your culture, you destroy these churches who are putting out the same entity that enslaved you. It's just a repeated cycle. So we have to stop murdering each other, man. That's going out from here to America, through Europe, or whatever. This is important, man. It's time to return to your culture and your heritage, for we can make the pilgrimage to Zion and get this curse removed off of us as a nation of people.
Can you tell us when that opportunity is afforded to us?
Okay, now we're meeting on September the 7th for Sukkot. If anybody know what Sukkot is, Feast of Booths or Feast of Tabernacles, some may say. But the key also, if those that like in Trinidad and other countries that are not as obligated, or maybe is not as rich as others, because we know people have to do whatever to get money. We have a whole year to the Feast of Passover, or the Pasach, or the Passover, which is we have that date coming up shortly. If you reach out to the brothers, we keep in contact with you. But this is very important because this is the feast, or the Pasach, where the men of Israel would get that mark, which is quoted in the scriptures of the 144,000. We know this, we will show you this, and we can prove everything we say. So these are some of the, these are two of the feasts, and then also what they call Pentecost. This is another feast. So 3 feasts per year that we are to return. So the next one is September 27th. This will be in Israel, in Tel Arad. We'll be laying out there in booths. So if you can afford it, please come. Reach out to us. And you will not be the only ones. This is an international pilgrimage. People are coming from all around the world, and they made it from all around the world during the Pasach a few weeks ago.
The archaeological find, Kwame was saying you were there for part of the process.
Absolutely. The archaeological find now, in all of Israel, in the whole country, throughout all history, there have been more documents found in Tel Arad than any other place. Artifacts, relics, whatever you want to call it. Now, my question is to you.
Okay, we have to go to a break.
Okay.
We have to go to a break. So we're going to continue on that point. When we come back, we're speaking with our brothers from Hebrews United. You're watching Day Prime. Stay tuned.
Cloud Media Concepts, official distributor of LED displays for concerts, outdoor applications, special events, multiple installations. LED tells your message every single time. You heard me, LEDs tell your story. And at CMC, we can create and install LED displays anytime, any size, anywhere, because we are the official distributors of LED displays. Need billboards? Call the Cloud. Cloud Media Concepts, 289-0189.
If them a come, make them come. I'm Eternal the strong one, Mr. Live Up. I got tested. I remember I was so nervous. And by the time they did the test, it was so easy. 1, 2, 3, done.
Welcome back, folks. You're watching Day Prime. We're speaking with brothers from Hebrews United. Brother Ashira, you were about to get into, your experience with the archaeological find.
Okay, so what I was saying that you're going to find...
Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to find that there's more archaeological relics, papas, whatever you want to call it, in what is called Tel Arad. Now, the question is, I asked the other gentleman earlier today, if in America, if you wanted to find all the records and all the artifacts, where will you go?
Washington, capital.
Washington, exactly. You want to go to Washington. Mm-hmm. If America was destroyed and people 50 years from now want to go find records, they're going to go to Washington. So the same thing is happening in Israel. All the relics you can find, the more relics, way more than in modern Jerusalem, where you find the name of the God of Israel, okay, where you find letters and poems and coins, everything has been in Tel Arad. Now, Mount Zion, people ask, well, how was this discovered? Believe it or not, it started to uncover itself. The Arabs buried it around 800 AD. But within recent, like in the 60s, early 60s, it started to uncover itself. It's deep. Because scripture said that would happen. So if you look on the documentary or pictures of Mount Zion, you have two towers that are called Millows. They start showing. But before that, HWHY, Mariel, great uncle, went into Israel in the 1920s. So you can imagine what black people were doing in the 20s. We was under Jim Crow, you know what I mean, still slavery. Although they didn't say we were free, it was still slavery. But this brother went over to Israel and found what was known as the real Jerusalem. Everything fit. The Mount Olives, which is known as Arad. And so he went back and reported. And through that tradition, they called the watchman. It was handed down to him, to another Amario family member, and to what is known as HWHY today. And we know him as the watchman that stand on Mount Zion, or the watchman on Mount Ephraim, who actually put out the first call in 2009. The same year, he claimed the entire land of Israel under the Jubilee law. Most people don't know that. The land was claimed in 2009 under the Jubilee law. But what happened just recently, under the court case, now we're talking about 5-6 years later, they said, listen, we're not going to give you this land. The Jewish people, to the highest Supreme Court in Jerusalem, modern Jerusalem, you're not getting this land. We know you're a Hebrew Israelite. We know you approve it. We know y'all the people, but you're not getting this country. You're not getting this land. What we'll do is we'll give you $1 million. So they said, well, we're going to adjourn it. We want you to think on that. Now, if you don't take this $1 million, we're going to charge you $10,000 for this, another $20,000 for this. So he came back after being adjourned, and the judge says, what do you want to do? He said, I want to continue the case. And when he called me right after, he said, Kenya, man, you could have heard. He said, man, the people were like, it was like a movie, you know. But recently, within the last week or two, again, that they turned them down. So it's supposed to happen. So now he has to pay these expensive, but it's supposed to happen. Why was it supposed to happen? Because that was an opportunity for them to give up the land before the God of Israel take it back. So right now, we're going through world court. It's about to be taken to the next level of the world court. And they're going to deny it. It has to happen. It must happen. Because in order for the land, for us to be removed into our own home, Scripture says that I'm not going to do it because of you. Israel. I'm going to do it because of my might, because of my holy name. This is what God is saying. So he's going to be by his name that he removed all of us back into our homeland, into the land of Israel. So the gathering has begun. Your brothers from Sudan, your brothers from Eritrea, your brothers from Nigeria they're right. The Most High right arm is gathering those of Israel into the land as we speak. Right now, I'm telling you this. And they're fighting on front line. My brother Mario Hashua Mario is right there with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm right there with them on front line. So that's why you see me, people be like, well, how you getting around everywhere? I don't have a dime. I'm broke, man. You understand? I'm broke. I'm homeless and I'm broke. But the God of Israel is moving me across the earth to gather, not to gather, but to awaken the sheep, you know what I'm saying, and point the way back home. That's my job. That's my job, Ak.
So this court case is for the land that has been discovered.
It's no different than an Arawak Indian coming to Trinidad saying, hey, all you people of government, everybody else got to go. This is our land. Would be rightfully true. Right, exactly. So that's the same thing he done. But again, they denied that. They went against their own. See, the country of Israel was established by Torah. By Torah, the Torah. Mm-hmm. When the Jewish people went into that country, they established it under UN, with the UN help, under the Torah. So the laws that govern that land supposedly be the Torah. The law of the Jubilee states that if a son of Israel is not in that land, next of kin can occupy that land until a son of Israel return. But that son of Israel who proved himself was Hashua Mariel. You understand? And then also we can't forget about our brothers and sisters who there through the Benjamin camp. So think about this. You can't take a bunch of Negroes that forefathers crossed Atlantic slave and said, we know y'all the people, and here, take this little corner over here, like the white man did the Native Americans, you know what I mean, and not think that the rest of their people are going to wake up and say, hey, we coming home too. You understand what Malcolm X says? The chicken has come home to roost. It's that time. It's that time. You know what I mean? So we know, and the only way we're going to do it is by you men, the brother behind this camera, yourself, this brother over there, by waking up and researching this. Your souls depend on this. You understand what I mean? Your life, your children, lives depend on this knowledge, on this understanding. This is not a religion. This is not a do the right thing movement. This is your heritage. This is a culture that was given to us and that was taken away through slavery. And we're here to retain it. I'm one of the brothers out of many that's to come that's going to be out here showing and teaching. You brothers eventually going to understand this, because scripture says all Israel shall be awakened. All Israel should know who they are. So it's a matter of time. You can either learn it now or later.
The actual dig itself, I'm sure it would have been met with some protests.
Well, the thing is, the protest, believe it or not, the protest, see the Jewish, I've just left there a couple weeks ago. Now, scripture says that 3 people is going to be in that land under the Hebrew Israelites. It says that Syria, my people. It says that in Egypt, which are some of the Sudanese. And then it says Egypt, my people, and Israel, my inheritance. We're going to be in that land in the end. Now, the thing about it is this. When I put the call out to the 4 corners of the earth in the first documentary for when Zion was revealed, where everybody was thinking that the modern Jerusalem was the real Jerusalem, when the call went out, guess who returned? Take a lucky guess. It wasn't us out of those 3 people. It was the Assyrians, and it was the Sudanese. These people are there praying, but God is not a respecter of persons. But also, he's like, where's my children? Where's my inheritance at? Where's the children of Israel? I see the Syrians here. I see the Egyptians here. But where's Israel? You see what I'm saying? So, again, we want our people to return. This is that deep, man. This is not my movement. This is not a Hashua Mario movement. Because I tell anybody, if you follow me, you're going to go to hell. I'm gonna keep it real with you. But the thing you're supposed to be following is the God of Israel, the Torah, the Tanakh, with the faith of the Mashiach. So there's not much to say, man. We want you guys to come out just to hear what's going on. You know what I mean? Bring your sons, bring your mothers, because this information is like one in a lifetime. This is not no dictatorship. You know, we want you to be able to ask questions, and we'll have the answers for you. Okay?
All right. Well, I can tell them again when
Sure. Much has been said. The brother Ashira speaking on behalf of course, HWHY, and by extension, the greater movement to awaken and by extension, assist in the regathering of Israel in the Americas. It's a mammoth task, as we said before. There's only so much that we can do right here and right now. That number again to call is 710-4934. That number again, 710-4934. The place to be tomorrow, Saturday the 25th, is going to be at 5 p.m. of course, is going to be at the corner of 6th Street and 8th Avenue. Again, that's 6th Street and 8th Avenue. There are several things happening. On the one hand, there's a legislative issue. There's a court case that is ongoing right now with Israel in terms of secular Israel, beyond which we are going to take it all the way to the World Court. Besides that, there is the issue of a people knowing themselves and knowing your heritage. Besides that, there's the issue, of course, of correcting history and correcting so many things that have gone wrong. And so a man without a name, a man without a heritage, a man without a history, certainly is doomed to repeat all kinds of mistakes because he doesn't know his past. Right. His past will inform his present, and his present will certainly inform his future. So that being said, even if you have no interest whatsoever in the faith of the Hebrew people, which I'm hoping you would have, even if you're interested in this purely from a secular perspective of being able to identify with your true people, to understand the family names that we came from, to understand the geographic locations from which we came, and to understand what are some of the things that you can do perhaps to help another brother or maybe another sister who is seeking to make this pilgrimage, who wants to come back home or go back home, as it were. I want to remind you that going back home is more than just a geographic trip. It's a trip within. He spoke a lot about fighting, he spoke a lot about wars, and he spoke a lot about destruction. Understand us when we say that this is a mission of love. Absolutely. We are not a hate group. We are not militants. No. This is a fight within. Right. This is a fight for truth. This is a fight for rights. The indigenous people that belong to a land should have access to that land. This is a fight for justice, and it's certainly a fight of good versus evil, right versus wrong.
Now he says something that was key. Love. Only thing that's going to kill this energy out there is love, man. You understand? Love of your people, love of yourself. You know what I mean? And also killing your enemies with kindness. You understand? Using wisdom. And so I just wanted to say that because you hit something key. Because again, they're going to use every opportunity, and believe me, even here in Trinidad, they're going to come against you people. You understand? Eventually it's going to happen because the scripture says. It says that my people, scripture talks about how they're going to come against my people. It's not just talking about in America or in Africa and Europe, it's talking about in the world. So in order for you to understand who you are, in order to fight these demons, it's going to have to take love of self, and also love of your brother. Love to be able to push your brother to return to Zion for a pilgrimage. Because eventually, once we start doing this, the master, the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, is going to plant us in that land before the return of Christ. Before the return of Christ, as the scriptures have stated. So I just wanted to repeat that more, because you need to see these people, they're very evil. They're very evil people. These people who control the television and the radio and the airwaves, they twist things.
Gayelle exclusive, of course.
Yes. Besides Gayelle, right. Besides Gayelle. You know what I mean? they like to turn things around and make us evil. See, we've been demonized already in the earth as a people. Everywhere you go, blacks. No matter where you go, you know what I'm saying? They want to. And it's not just black. It's the so-called Negro blacks, because they don't see them treating so-called people who are from the children of Ham, of Africans like that. You know what I mean? They treat them different. And also think about this. If you were Africans, if they were pushing you as Africans, how many Africans have ever asked you to come back home, my brother? How many Africans say, come home? Have they asked you to come back home? No. You know why? Because you're not them and they're not you. Now, there are some of our people that's still in Africa, but they're still being trodden down as well. You understand? So we just need you people to understand that what we are here, we're not a hate group. You know what I mean? There are people out there of my brothers, you know what I mean, that doing things that I wouldn't condone, but they're still my brothers. And eventually they're going to learn like everybody else too, to love.
All right. Well, again, flood of information.
Gayelle,
being
you
put
the
out
joint.
when brothers from Hebrews United join us. We appreciate them coming once again. We'll have to take a little break, however. We've come to the end of our time with them. So stay tuned, guys. You're watching Dave Prime.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
In his ways, and all the people of the earth shall see that Yahuwah's name is proclaimed over you, and they shall stand in fear of you. Yahuwah will give you abounding prosperity in the issue of your womb, the offspring of your cattle, and the produce of your soil in the land Yahuwah swore to your fathers to assign you. Yahuwah, your Elohim, will open you his bounteous store, the heavens, to provide rain for you in your land and seasons, and to increase you undertaking. You will be credited to many nations, but debtor to none. Yahuwah will make you the head, not the tail. You will always be at top and never at the bottom, if you obey and faithfully observe the commandments of Yahuwah your Elohim.